Alright, I decided to see if I can get the black Zenith gloves to do anything productive. Now with the black Zenith gloves, in order to get these to work, you have to take into consideration multiple factors. The biggest one is to what to do with that plus 4 seconds to cooldown. Now you can try to reduce that cooldown duration or throw something like second wind in there so you can use it twice, but second wind increases the duration. But I didn't really want to mess with reducing the cooldown duration. I kind of want to run the gloves as the gloves intend to give it a cooldown duration. So in that regard, you have to have multiple sources of damage. I decided to go with DeathsOath to do wide area damage, and then hopefully using Phantasmal SoulRend to do a little more single target. Obviously, it's not going to be that great for single target. And since I have a Nims ring, I might as well use it and have these bad boys bounce back at me. So I can just run around with DeathsOath doing damage and then cast this whenever it's available. The supports I decided to put in there is Awaken added chaos damage, mostly to give it a +1 to the active skill. Awaken Spell Echo, and Awaken Void Manipulation. 39% more chaos, plus another +1 to supported chaos skills. That puts this to level 22, and, it's pretty strong. And if I could cast it nonstop, this would be a pretty damn strong build, but I can't cast it nonstop. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the gear. It's all pretty good stuff. Strong belt, strong boots, ring, pretty good. And then Nims. This amulet's pretty bad, but I like the life and I like the mana, so I'm gonna keep it. And then SoulRend helmet. Crown of the Inward Eyes. Someone sold this for 100C, and I don't think anyone's using SoulRend, so it was only 100C. Got this bad boy for 2 chaos, which does a lot of chaos damage over time, and then increased chaos damage, 25% chance to deal double damage, and mostly just running cluster jewels. Boop, boop, boop. Cluster jewel, all chaos stuff. I'm trying to run a lot of these ones. Eldritch Inspiration to give me more maximum mana regeneration rate. And that's going to pair with Dark Ideation. 2% chaos damage per 100, maximum mana up to 80%. So I have just under 3,000 mana, which would be, I think, like between 50 and 60% increased chaos damage. So that's a pretty good chaos boost. Obviously, if I got more mana and more chaos, I could rig this up so I have a lot of these dark ideations. I think I only have like 2. There's 2 there, and I think there might be another one down here. 3. I got 3, 4. I got 4 of these dark ideations. Now, the dark ideation is actually a really good idea for the other character that's a mana character, or just focus a little more on mana. But this will work for now, just to give me a little bit of damage. It's all cluster jewels. It's all that jazz. Watcher's Eye, just 18% damage multiplier while affected by malevolence. That's the only thing I really care about. Clarity is a nice add. I actually found this on my own, which was a big part of why I wanted to build this build. So I got something to have malevolence, and I had all this other gear. Most of everything here I already had. So I just wanted to kind of test it out. Now it works, but it works mostly because of DeathsOath. I'll take DeathsOath off like mid-map. Let's just run, just so I don't get any interference. Let's run just a regular a regular white map. Tier 16. Let's do Crimson Temple. That should be fine. It's not. It's not regular. It should work just fine. Oh yeah, I might as well show you the sockets of everything else. DeathsOath is just your standard life tap, less duration, increased area of effect, swift affliction, efficacy, and void manipulation. Here I just run in a punishment and despair Bane, just to be able to apply 2 curses, because I have 2 curses, and that's pretty much it. Determination, Grace, Malevolence. It mostly just works off of DeathsOath. As you can see, I'm just popping with DeathsOath mostly. But those projectiles do actually assist quite significantly. Is it a actual usable build? Probably not. I don't think it's going to do anything to bosses. Great clear build. Well, average clear build. Character's only level 90, so there's a ton of growth that could be had. It's a little awkward because I keep trying to cast the spell, but I can only cast it once every 4 seconds. And training yourself to not do that is difficult. I guess I can just hold down the Q button and it'll just cast it whenever it's available. Fight the boss. You can be pretty mobile because you just kind of run around the bosses. But any other build, this boss would be dead already. Alright, let's remove this DeathsOath. Oh shit, that removed everything else, didn't it? And now I can't equip it. Well, shit. Guess I won't be removing the DeathsOath. Hopefully my Astra Menace isn't on another character. I'll just remove the gems from the DeathsOath, so it does less damage. So that way we can see SoulRend actually do its thing. I really like SoulRend. I've never really used it before. I just think it looks kind of cool. Obviously, you can use different skills with this, and if I were to try to turn this into a real build, I was DeathsOath, just got all those kills without any gems. I have so much chaos damage that DeathsOath just works without any support gems. As I was building this, I found a build that is far more, a skill that I can use that's far more interesting than this one. This one's cool and all, but I'm far more interested in building a different build now that I've played around with it a little. Where I think this type of a build shines is in the delve. It's pretty fun in the delve. Let's run a quick delve. Mostly this isn't a build. I'm just trying to experiment with these gloves. But DeathsOath, I think, is stronger than it's ever been. Simply because you can just get so much chaos damage nowadays. Well, let's get this. See, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But the skill that I find fascinating with these gloves, and I don't really know how they work. It's not a skill that I've ever used, but Winter Orb. Winter Orb looks very interesting with this skill. You throw Winter Orb on. You can channel it permanently, and it will continue to fire. As soon as you unchannel it, then the 4 seconds count starts to trigger. So it's obviously not working with Spell Echo, so let's just throw something else on. It doesn't work with Unleashed. I'm very surprised it doesn't work with Unleashed. Phantasmal SoulRend doesn't work with Unleash. Makes sense, but it doesn't say anywhere on these gloves that it prevents it working with Unleash. I'm guessing it's implied with the socketed projectile spells have a plus 4 second to cooldown, which removes the ability to use Awakened Unleash. It'll still use Spell Echo, but not Unleashed. So let us what are we gonna use? I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's just do Arcane support. Now I have no elemental damage. It's all chaos. So unless there's a way to get more chaos damage from elemental, I think there's a very expensive ring that'll allow you to do it. So let's just run a slightly lower difficult one, City Square, just to show this interaction. So I'll probably test it out in a different build. I don't know if I'll make a video on it. If it doesn't work, I definitely won't, but I think it'll be interesting. Definitely won't be a mapper. It'll be more of a bosser. You want to build like a really tanky build, and then you just constantly throw these winter orbs out, and then you're going to dash out. Then when you have time, you can cast again. And it looks like it's going to be really strong. As you can see, the duration of it is all jacked up. I mean, I guess I can just make a cold chaos build if I really wanted to. My DeathsOath is doing too much work. Actually, I wonder if I have any bosses. The goal to using this kind of a build, which is just make it super tanky, so you don't have to move around a lot. Just an ultra thick boy, and you just stand there and you shoot shit out. I'll do that later. I think I'll make a whole build about it. But it is pretty cool. Let's try Second Wind. Let's throw Second Wind in there and see what happens. Okay, so we got 2. Second Wind might even work, so then you can hit the casting. Then when you move, you have another one from Second Wind. So you're going to lose a ton of damage, though, just to get that extra cooldown. So it's definitely not worth it. But it's nice to know that it works. So I think Winter Orb is a win with this. A pure win. I think it's going to do very well. SoulRend, not so much. I'll run one more map with SoulRend. Let's fight a boss. Drox is going to be a perfect example to see just how little damage I have. I think some of these are bricked. I think most of my characters reflect Fizz, so I'll just null this one out and run it white. Just so there's no crazy mods that wreck me. Oh shit, I still have Winter Orb on. We can spell echo is what I'm running. I think that's bleed, because I'm immune to corrupted blood, so that's got to be some type of bleed. My defenses on this build were not taken into consideration. They go pretty far, though. They're kind of just like off-screening people, which is pretty cool. They kind of go just roaming around the map, and then they'll eventually return to me like I'm just hanging out. And here they come back because of the Nimis ring. I really like the effect on certain maps with this ring and this skill. And obviously, if you wanted to do a curse build, you can use 1/6 link for some curses, the other for DeathsOath. It's definitely not the worst damage I've ever had on a build. And since you can just kind of move around the whole time, it's pretty defensive. And the whole point is this Nimis ring, it kind of adds value to the 4-second delay because they bounce back. So they're still going to be hitting the whole time. Obviously, a perpetual casting would be better, but 150% more damage with hits that's pretty strong. I mean, it's not great, but it's also not the worst thing I've built. Definitely not the worst thing I've built. It kind of works. Of course, that was a white Droxus, and you know when you throw some mods on, he's a little more difficult. I haven't done any path of building on this, so let's go ahead and pop that up. I have no clue what to even guess on what the possible damage would be for this. I don't even know if path of building is going to calculate it correctly. But the Winter Orb, for me, seems very fascinating. One of the problems with it might be I might kill too quickly, since it has that 4-second cooldown time. And if I'm killing too quickly, then it might not be that great. But I mean, if you pump this up to level 97 instead of 90, you get 7 more points, which is a lot of points. Let's hit the configuration. I don't think I have anything special. Don't use any charges. I'm not sure if I have to click life tap in order for it to work with DeathsOath. Sure, I've killed in the past 3 seconds. Why not? We'll leave the enemy off low life. Withering stack, let's say 15. I don't know how the withering stacks actually work with this passive. You apply Every second, inflict wither on a nearby enemy for 15 seconds. So I imagine you can get 15 withers if you stay near the nearby enemies. I don't think I got anything to hinder. One of these hinders, but I don't think I'm using it. I probably ought to get some hinder in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if 20% increase effect of wither is better or 1% chaos damage over time per 4 chaos res, because my chaos res is pretty close to cap. I can cap it if I wanted to. Anyways, back to path of building. Let's go to skills. Including full deeps. So that SoulRend is 1.4. The hit DPS is, looks like 1 million hit DPS, and the dot is 400,000. That's just for that. Death's Aura. So 1.8 million it's looking like. Probably less than that, to be honest, TBH. Because you're not really hitting with those as much as you'd like because you have to move around. But I'll include that in the video. That is it. I'm not sure I'll spend the time to try out Winter Orb. I think I will, because I think it'll be strong. But that is all. Black Zenith challenge, trying to get this to work. I was trying to think of other things that would work well with this. And one of them that looks pretty cool is actually Spark. Spark looks pretty rad. I typically not a huge Spark fan. But Spark with this ring is pretty solid looking. When you cast it, let's say this waypoint is the enemy, you stand on them. You hit it. They bounce out and then they bounce right back. That's going to get a ton of overlapping data. I mean, no, overlapping data. Tell I'm an analyst. Oh, overlapping hits for that 4. Another interesting aspect is instead of doing extra damage spells, you can actually do 2 skills with it. So you can do an alternate, and they have independent cooldowns. So you can hit that spark, you can hit this, and if you can find a way to trigger this in an interesting fashion, it would be pretty cool. Like maybe using elemental equilibrium and using 2 different elemental skills and alternate the 2. So like fire and ice, or lightning and fire. Pretty interesting. Let's toss this spark in the trash. Now, obviously, I think there's a spark that converts everything to chaos, so I could just do a chaos damage spark build. But pretty sure I've bought and sold that spark spell 20 or 30 times this league already. So I'm probably not going to go buy it again. Yeah, I won't go buy it again. That is all.